Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer. Today we're back with Norsca, going to be rounding out our DLC discussion for Game 1 with the early adopter bonus faction for Game 2, which was of course Norsca. So, in this battle, I've got Wulfric the Wanderer, we've got a Famir Balefiend Lord of Shadows, we're up against the Lizardmen, so I decided to bring a bit of an unorthodox build. Let's see how this goes. Got a front line of Marauder Hunter axes, a second line of javelins, got some armored skin wolves in protection, kennel here of Beasts of Tashnar and Ice Wolves, spearmen out to the flanks, and up here we've got a Werekin along with the Maws of Savagery Regiment of Renown. For my Lizardman opponent, going to be led by Tehenowin. He's got lots of Lizard Cav. We've got a whole bunch of Cold One Spear Riders, lots of Saurus, Skinks, red-crested Skinks as well, and some Skirmishers. So a full stack of Angry Lizards. Should be an interesting battle nonetheless. Tehenowin screaming about Sotek, no doubt. So yeah, Norsca. Where do they fall into the DLC discussion? Well, they're in an interesting place. They only have 2 legendary lords. They have 3 lord selections overall. Probably one of the least developed rosters, in my opinion. Certainly the campaign is quite a bit of fun, but Norsca kind of had the weird distinction of causing some major issues for Game 2. Obviously it's well known by now, but Norsca was not released alongside Mortal Empires like they were supposed to be. You know, there were some major issues with the coding and everything, so yeah, you can see me kind of pressuring a little bit with these Maws of Savagery here. Sort of just pressuring my opponent, trying to break up his advance a little bit here. We're also bringing up the Hounds. Wulfric's going to come forward and start to take some shots from the Skink Skirmishers. That's fine with me. He's got a good missile block chance. He can tank some of this fire a little bit. And of course we can unleash Sea Fang as well as a Penumbral Pendulum. Doing some good damage to the Skink Skirmishers. Probably not as much as I would have liked, but hey, it's something. Anyway, so Norsca, yeah, they took a long time and, yeah, I guess caused some major issues for Creative Assembly. Now they're released, though. Still only 2 legendary lords. We'll talk more about that in just a minute, but you can see the Lizardmen pushing up and across here. It is going to be kind of tricky for me. I'm going to angle my build and sort of float back this way a little bit. Try, because I see my opponent's formed up most of his cav over on this flank, so I'm going to try and get, you can see I'm bringing over my Skin Wolves, I'm bringing over the Ice Wolves as well. The Skin Wolves, just going to charge into these exposed Skinks real quick, see if we can't draw the Lizard Cav into an unfavorable situation here. These poor Skinks just going to get absolutely brutalized. That being said, Tehenowin's going to summon up a Manticore here, and the Lizard Cav going to charge forward, so we are going to get a pretty heavily pitched engagement here. I am trying to take this engagement within range of the throwing axes and stuff here, but over here, a little bit of miss micro on my part, getting these hunters caught up by that Skink cohort. It's not the best. Granted, Wulfric's going to rear charge them and maybe route them off there, but it's tough to say. Meanwhile, over here, we're getting Overcast, Wisson's Wild Form on the Lizardmen units. You can see many of the Lizard Cav have charged in. That being said, of course, the Maws of Savagery and other units with their anti-large and armor-piercing damage, doing a great job. Axes getting thrown in here, just doing a ton of damage to that Manticore. You can see the Lizard Cav have punched through to the second line, but as they kind of compromise here, they're going to get hit by a lot of Overwatch fire from multiple directions. And so they should be able to crumble. We should be able to crumble them pretty quickly. That being said, they are doing a ton of damage to these Marauders right now, so it's not the best. Over here, Spearmen, supported by the Hounds, are going to be able to quite easily defeat those Cold Ones. Unfortunately, over on this side, these Marauder Spearmen getting a little bit overwhelmed, and some of my other ranged units starting to get caught up by Skinks again as well. And double wind here, doing a ton of damage to those Saurus and to the red-crested Skinks. Unfortunately, not quite enough, but you can see the Saurus came through, and now Wulfric and the Famir are fighting them. Over here, the Skin Wolves are having a little bit of a tough time. They did just come back from route. We've got the second Manticore summon now up and active. I'm going to start pulling back some of my missiles to try and get into more of a protected position here. And the Ice Wolves and the Beasts of Tashnar are doing a great job keeping this back line free as much as possible of the Lizardmen Cav. I've done a great job of killing most of the Cold One Spear Riders. Unfortunately, because the Lizardmen outnumber me, I really don't have the resources to chase routed units off. Like, normally I would use these Ice Wolves and the Beasts of Tashnar and stuff to chase routing units off, but it's just right now not really working out too well. That being said, we are going to start to pitch some missiles into the side of the Saurus here and the Manticore as well. Just try and get some routes going over here. Going to use the Hounds to support their big werewolf brethren. And try and take out these Cold One Spear Riders here. They're just about finished off, but things are still pretty close. Balance power is still dead even at this point. We do still have a lot of missile units left, so we're able to pressure here in multiple waves. The Red Crested Skinks with the Enfeebling Foe. Marauder Hunters honestly have decent enough stats, but here, this is a big loss for me. The Famir Balefiend getting caught out by Tehenowin himself. Tehenowin has taken quite a bit of damage, but that being said, Wulfric is also in a dangerous situation now too, a little bit isolated and exposed. We're going to bring those Hunter Javelins forward and try and support a little bit there, but should be a bit tricky. You can see just the amount of Lizardmen infantry is the main problem here. This build would have worked really, really well, especially in the last patch where they didn't have Red Crests. Unfortunately, now Red Crest kind of turned that around a little bit. You can see the Hounds are getting routed off here, but yeah. Things are starting to grind a little bit out of my favor. It's still very, very close at this point. Wulfric over here getting attacked by Tehenowin. He's also surrounded by Saurus as well, so this is just not a great situation for Wulfric. He is going to try and use that Sea Fang to support himself a little bit here, take out some of those infantry. Does do some decent damage, of course, but yeah, Javelins in here supporting, getting taken out by those Skink Skirmishers. So unfortunately weren't able to quite do enough, but we do have the Hounds coming over, I should say the Maws of Savagery, as well as the Werekin. The 2 units of Hounds have also come back from route, so we can start using them to pressure. A lot of ranged units coming back as well over here, so we can kind of get a little bit of a pocket going. It's not completely out of my reach at this point, but it's still not looking amazing. But yeah, Skinwolves get in here. They get a decent rear charge, help support Wulfric. We should be able to help him survive at least a little bit longer here. You can see the Werekin was also going to be coming over here, but yeah, trying to break these Skinks so that we can just get things going. You can see I'm trying to, again, use the Hounds to chase routing units if I can, chase these tattered units, but unfortunately this healthy-ish unit of Red's Crest is going to be a lot to deal with. And yeah, we're in for a tough fight in this late game, but Wulfric getting some support here. The Werekin, we do drop the Hunter of Champions onto Tehenowin, and then the Werekin's going to turn around and start to try and get at him. Unfortunately, the Skinwolf Werekin has a very similar problem to Gorbel in that he just gets knocked around super easy, has a hard time of really getting any decent damage in. But Tehenowin takes very few hits there, is able to get back up in the air with relatively little damage taken, so a little bit of a waste of that Hunter of Champions there, but Balefiend's coming back as well. He might be able to get some spell support. Over here, this kind of ranged group is not doing the greatest against these Skink Skirmishers, but the Hound's coming in again for another cycle charge of these red-crested Skinks. Should hopefully be able to finish them off. But yeah, at this point, with the Maws of Savagery getting routed off, the Famir gets routed off, and Wulfric does as well. That's pretty much going to be game. A little bit too far out of my reach at this point, but still a very, very close battle. And maybe if I had played a little bit better with my missile units, I might have been able to win out. It's tough, you know, just with the build that my opponent brought, I definitely was going to have a tough time. I just needed more numbers realistically, but yeah. You can see the Spearmen getting gadded down by blowpipes. These few hunters that remain. Gonna try and rally here some of my forces together. You can see Wulfric coming back, but at this point it's pretty much decided, so we're just gonna fast forward a little bit through this late game as Wulfric and the Werekin try and reunify one more time here, but Werekin takes a ton of missiles to the face, and that's pretty much gonna be it. One last Hunter of Champions goes on to Tehenowin, but still he does enough to just about finish off Wulfric here. We'll see. Wulfric's melee defense held out that time. Looks like the Werekin comes in, gets a good hit there. But yeah, even if I were to finish off Tehenowin, it's not gonna be enough to bring this battle back at this point. So yeah, the Saurus wave moves in, and that's gonna be GG. So well played, my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. Yeah, Norsca is certainly a powerful faction. Don't take this specific battle as you know, a super great example. But whoops, not that. Like I said, I took a bit of a weird build just to see if it would work. It actually worked out pretty decently, all things considered, and I do think with some tweaking that a build like this could do very well, but credit to my opponent, he brought a great counter build, just a huge full stack of angry lizards, and was just too much for me to deal with. But just talking about Norsca in a more general sense, you know, when Norsca was released, they were a powerful faction. Skin Wolves were probably a little bit overpowered when they were first released. Of course, since then, in Total War Warhammer 2, they were a little bit late to the party, but they do fit into the meta quite well. They're usually solidly middle of the pack. The main drawback for them is their lack of characters. We'll go into that in just a minute here. In terms of the army breakdown, 123 kills for Wulfric himself, 122 for the Beasts of Tashnar, 78 for these Ice Wolves, 70 and 78 for the Maws of Savagery and the regular Skin Wolves, respectively. You can see the missile units actually didn't get that many kills at the end of the day, so, you know, how well did it actually work? It's tough to say. But, yeah, for my opponent, obviously the Red-Crested Skinks doing quite well, Saurus also doing quite well. But, yeah, in terms of Norsca, the biggest issue with them, again, is their lack of character selection. So, whoops, not that. If we go here. So, yeah, Norsca has 3 Lord choices. I mean, come on. It's just, it's painfully bad. They don't have any caster level, Lord level casters. They have a Marauder Chieftain, Wulfric, which is like a better Marauder Chieftain, and Throg, and that's it. They do have some decent hero selections. You know, a few Lords of Magic. They have a powerful hero level caster in the Famir Balefiend, one of the most powerful hero level casters in the game, certainly. And they do have the Skinwolf Werekin, which is kind of like a Gorbel with regeneration, but yeah, just generally, in a general sense, the lack of characters, and especially Lord-level casters, does hurt Norsca pretty bad. The rest of the faction, though, pretty straightforward. Rush faction, they're incredibly good at hunting monsters, obviously. That's kind of their themes. They're really good against the monster-heavy factions. You know, Lizardmen, Tomb Kings, Chaos versus Norsca is always a super, super fun matchup. But, yeah, they certainly do have some powerful notes. But in terms of Legendary Lords, I've gone through this before. But once again, I would just like to propose Sirtha Ek for a Legendary Lord. I mean, he already has a unique model. He already starts the campaign with a chariot. And, like, I believe you get a trait for beating him in campaign. So, and I've talked a little bit about this before, but sort of my vision for a Sirtha Ek, and I'll probably make a separate video about this, but to give him a unique chariot mount, give him an Ice Wolf chariot mount, so that he has Frostbite and he's extra fast and does, you know, armor-piercing anti-infantry, and so he has a special chariot mount. He should have, like, some kind of charge bonus effect, whether that's a map-wide, you know, on-use deal like Wa, or like the Horn of the Wild Hunt for Orion. That would be great. Or it could be a small area of effect constant buff, like Alberic's Spirit of the Tempest. You know, a little speed and charge bonus buff constant in an area of effect around him, just to give him that theme of buffing up chariots and really make him synergize well with chariot-heavy builds. Would give us an extra Legendary Lord. As for Lord-level casters, I don't know. Those of you guys who are more familiar with the lore can let me know. I don't know if there's a Famir, like, Legendary Lord-level caster. That would be awesome. Or even just, you know, a Marauder, you know, Shaman Lord-level caster. Just anything. They need some kind of Lord. Even a Greater Demon. Like we can get the Big Bird look-alike from the campaign as Legendary Lord. Like, anything. Just any Lord-level caster would be welcome. So that's my biggest gripe with Norsca. As for if they're worth it, I would say absolutely. Their campaign is a ton of fun. Again, if you like Chaos factions, same thing like with the Warriors of Chaos, absolutely they're worth it. They're super fun in multiplayer. They're super fun in campaigns. So I definitely would say they are worth the buy. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.